Okay, team, so we're back again in the geometric logo worksheet in Adobe Illustrator, and this time we're going to be working on this old, outdated Twitter logo. Now, I know it seems weird to be designing or redesigning a logo that no longer exists for an app that has, as we know, been renamed to X, but this is one of the coolest logos out there for a very cool reason that is also exactly what we're talking about when we work in Adobe Illustrator with vector artwork. And it's a good way and a good opportunity for us to learn about what exactly you can do using only shapes. So I'm going to make sure I'm selected on my Twitter layer over here, and we will zoom in on that little blue Twitter bird that was so famous when it came out. And we are going to get rid of our white fill like we always do because we're going to be tracing. And I'm going to show you how to create this logo using only one shape, and it is a circle. You don't need anything other than the circle to create this Twitter bird. Now, if you wanted to spend a whole bunch of time and worry about all of your curves being consistent, you could use our pen tool. I could zoom right in and I could start putting points all along this bird using the handles to create the curves. And I could go along and do it this way. Now, it's going to take some time. Not all the curves are going to be accurate and precise. And when you get to the end, there might be parts where you have to go back and edit. It means taking lots of different shapes and curves and using all your handles. It's complicated. Okay, so we're not going to do it that way. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go back into my circle tool, and we're going to start creating this shape using only circles. So the first thing that we're going to do is create this main edge down here by drawing a circle up from that bottom line. And we're going to move it over and just try to line it up with the edge of the bird on both sides. So you'll see kind of from this point here down to this point here, it's that nice consistent circle, okay? Now if you want to see this even a little bit better, we can go into our strokes panel and we can turn the weight of that stroke all the way down to 0.25 with the drop down menu, and that just lets us see what we're working on a little bit better, okay? So I'm gonna grab my circle tool again. And actually, instead of grabbing the circle tool, let's grab this black selection arrow. We're just gonna move this one and hold down Alt to make a copy. And I wanna put another circle right about there. So you'll see that it now creates that edge from there to there, okay? I wanna go back to my circle tool. Let's work on the wing now, okay? So we have an edge here, another edge there, another edge here, another edge there, and finally up to the top of the wing. Okay, so we want to do all of those creating circles again. So I'm going to start at the top here. I'm going to go right to the edge and I'm going to click and drag. Now, anytime we're drawing circles, instead of making them ovals like this, if we hold down that shift key, we're going to get a perfect circle. We want to do that every time we create a new shape on this Twitter logo because, as I said, it's created using circles and not ovals. So we're going to put that circle there and make sure it's in exactly the right position. Maybe bump it up a little bit. Make it a little bit bigger in this direction. Again, holding down Shift. We never want to create or edit these circles without holding down the Shift key. Once we start dragging, that's going to make sure that they stay perfect circles. Now I can start moving this one by clicking and holding and dragging it, but holding down Alt when I do. And again, Alt is what's going to copy that circle. So you'll see now that I'm using the bottom edge of that circle to get that little line there. We can create another one by dragging it and holding down Alt again and copying it now to here. One more time for this little edge right here. And finally for the bottom of that first bit of the wing right there. Now it's going to start looking a bit messy with all of those circles, but you can see where those edges of the circles line up with the edges of the bird's wing. You can see kind of the belly of the wing and the tail there. Let's create one more circle. We're going to get this shape here. So we want to kind of start from here. Again, holding down Shift will create that circle. And then we'll move it around to get it in the exact right spot so that it lines up perfectly with the edge of our wing there. And it takes some playing around and getting used to these tools, guys. So take your time. I think that's pretty good there. Now we've got the top of the bird's head. So we'll create another circle, again, starting at the edge, clicking and dragging and holding down Shift. Drag that down into the right spot there. Maybe a little bit bigger. That looks good there. And we just have a couple more here to do the beak. So there's the edge here, back down here, up to the bottom of the beak, and back down again to the chin of the bird. So we'll use our circle tool once more, holding down Shift to get that top edge. We're gonna drag it and hold down Alt again for the bottom edge. Drag it and hold down Alt one more time for the bottom of the beak here and here. Okay, so if we zoom out now, we see all those shapes we've created and it looks like a mess of circles, but I promise you it's not. I'm gonna get zoomed in just right. So right there, we can get rid of this strokes. Now I want to use my shape builder tool, just like we did for those Olympic rings. As we know, I need to select all of these shapes, so I'll select my black selection tool and I will make sure I draw a box around all of it. So we grab it all. It's all going to light up like that. Then we go into our shape builder tool and we want to make sure that we only select the shapes that make up that Twitter bird. So just the ones that appear to be blue from that logo showing through underneath. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to click and drag, holding down our mouse button, and I want to make sure I grab only the ones that have a blue background. We don't want to grab anything extra. Try to grab as many as I can, and then I'll release. So you'll see it'll start building that shape there. Now there's a few that I missed, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to show you it's better to miss one than to include one that you don't want. If I miss it, I can zoom in and I can draw through the one that I missed. If I include one that I don't want, like that, I can't remove it now. The only way I can remove it is by doing an undo or a Control Z, okay? So we want to just make sure that we don't get any that we don't need. The ones that we miss that are teeny tiny, we can go through after and we can add them to our existing shape. So those are the really fine, detailed ones that sometimes we need to zoom way in on those just to see exactly what we missed. Even this one is going to be kind of tricky. Okay. Do we have any more? I think we got them all. And then what you're going to see when I zoom out here is that we now have our Twitter bird in all these leftover circles. So we want to go back to our selection tool. All of our shapes are still selected. If I hold down Shift and click on the bird, it's going to remove that from the selection. So we now have all of the shapes except for the bird selected. We can hit delete on our keyboard to get rid of all those ones that we don't want. And that leaves us with just the bird. So I can flip here so that my stroke is now my fill. We'll drag it to the side a little bit because we want to grab our eyedropper tool to give it the blue color. Put it back where it belongs. And we've got our Twitter logo using only circles. Pretty cool.